Knowing how to multiply and understanding FOIL is so important so that when we go backwards and we factor trinomials, we know how to do that. So let's just take a look at x plus 2 times x plus 3. X plus 2 times x plus 3. X times x is x squared. The outer is 3x. The inner is 2x. Those added together give me 5x. And then my last terms, positive 2 times positive 3 is positive 6. And that's how we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. What if we're given the trinomial and they say, how does that factor? Well, we're just going to multiply backwards. So we're going to say, well, where did the first term come from? Where did this x squared come from? Well, the x squared came from multiplying the first term times the first term, x times x. And then I say, well, where did that 6 come from? Well, the 6 came from multiplying two numbers together that gave me a positive 6. So I come off to the side here and I say, well, what two numbers multiply to be positive 6? Well, I could have a positive 1 and a positive 6. I could have a negative 1 and a negative 6. I could have a positive 2 and a positive 3. I could have a negative 2 and a negative 3. And those are all the combinations. I need combinations that when I multiply the outers and I multiply the inners and I add those, I get 5x. Well, if I try the positive 1 and the positive 6, that's going to give me an outer of 6x and an inner of 1x. 6x plus 1x is 7x, not 5x. So those don't work. Now, if I try negative 1 and negative 6, negative 1 and negative 6, I get negative 6x. So sorry, I get negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6, but the outer is negative 6x, the inner is negative 1x. That adds to be negative 7x. So not only is it not the 5, but it's also the wrong sign. So I'm not going to use two negatives. I'm going to try the 2 and the 3. Positive 2, positive 3. That gives me a 3x on the outside, a 2x on the inside. 3x plus 2x is 5x, and that's exactly how this factors. X plus 2, x plus 3. This method is called trial and error, and I think it's a fantastic way to factor. Let's try the next one. X squared minus 5x minus 6. I want to know, how does that factor? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show my work this way. X times x gets me back to x squared. Then I need to get back to a negative 6. Well, I could use negative 1 and positive 6. I could use positive 1 and negative 6. I could use negative 2 and positive 3, or positive 2 and negative 3. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to use negative 1 and negative 6, or negative 1 and positive 6 rather. Negative 1 and positive 6. I'm going to check the outer is 6x, the inner is negative 1x. That adds or subtracts to be 5x, positive 5x, but I need a negative 5x. When you have the right number but the wrong sign, usually what's happened is, in almost every circumstance that I can think of, your signs are wrong. So instead of positive 1 and negative 1 and positive 6, I need positive 1 and negative 6. That's going to make the outer negative 6x, the inner positive 1x. Now those two numbers add to be negative 5x. So our factors are x plus 1 and x minus 6. And I always show my work So show your work and check. So this right here is checking. So this is your check. So you should never wonder whether or not you've got the right answer. You should know you've got the right answer because you foiled it back out in your work, so you know that it works. Let's try x squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, how does that factor? So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to show my work. X times x gets me back to x squared. And now I need a positive 8. So positive 1 and positive 8, negative 1 and negative 8, positive 2 and positive 4, negative 2 and negative 4. If I use positive 1 and positive 8, I'm not going to add to be a negative 6. So I know that I can't use positive 1 and positive 8, and I can't use positive 2 and positive 4, because I need them to add to be a negative 6. So negative 1, negative 8, with practice, you're going to see the negative 1, negative 8 is going to give you negative 9x. That's not going to work. So you will get very fast at this because you're going to put a negative 2 and negative 4, knowing that you just do a quick check. Negative 4x, negative 2x gets you to the negative 6x, and our factors are x minus 2 and x minus 4. Okay, so here's one for you to try. X squared plus 11x plus 30. When you come back, I'll have the answer. This factors to be, now I'm going to show you how fast this is. X plus 5, x plus 6. And I did that all in my head because I've gotten a lot of practice factoring. And once you set your mind to it and you practice these, you'll get faster and faster at them. And you'll need to be able to factor these pretty quickly if you're going on to Algebra 2 and college algebra. Lots of factoring. So factoring continues all the way through calculus. Okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you the answer to this try right here, x squared minus 10x plus 24, and then we're going to incorporate greatest common factors.